All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. It is the second hour of the program. We are with you straight through until noon. Let me throw a couple of things at you. Do we deserve a better Canada? Do you think that Canada has more potential than is currently unlocked? Our next guest might be speaking to you. A group of Canadian tech entrepreneurs have launched Build Canada. It's a platform aimed at influencing government policy on issues like immigration, healthcare, and innovation. It's led by former Shopify executive Daniel Dubois. The initiative focuses on bold ideas to boost Canada's economic growth and prosperity. Daniel's on the line. Daniel, welcome to the program.
Hey, Elias, thanks for having me.
What inspired you to build Canada? Was it a moment? Was it a culmination of things? How'd you get here?
Like many Canadians, like I'm sure many of the people listening, you're in talking to your friends, talking to your neighbors, talking to your colleagues in chat rooms on the phone, and everyone has a sense of, hey, is this the way it should be going? Is this the country we want? And that's been going on for some time. Obviously, over the last months, it's gotten more intense. I think a question of like, hey, in the context of an election happening, and we know one coming up. And so I think the question was like, is yelling at each other in a chat room or yelling at your friend over a beer really going to do anything? And so I think myself and a bunch of other volunteers decided, we should try something different. Let's try this. And that was the inspiration.
One of the things that I've seen Build Canada publish so far, I'm going to read a quote. Canada should be the world's richest country. But for decades, small thinking, bureaucratic inertia, and special interests have kept us from realizing our potential. Get into that. Tell me about Canada being the world's richest country and why you truly believe that could be or could have been a possibility.
Well, I think it definitely could be and will be. I'm fundamentally an optimistic person, and I think you have to be pragmatic, but you also have to be optimistic. Look, we have incredible natural resources. We have an incredible geographic location. We have incredible access to markets. We have incredible people. And we have a culture that allows us to build things. I think probably not been highlighted enough, but we have an amazing history and legacy of building great things. This country built railways, we built ports, we opened up resource exploration, we've built technology companies. And so what we simply have to do is remember that that's as much a part of Canada as, hockey, building things, creating things. And if we get that central to who we are, and everything that's around building something, which is moving quickly, moving with efficiency, with focus, understanding where growth comes from, if we can get around that, I'm certain we will be the most prosperous country in the world.
And Daniel, I got to tell you, over the holidays, I was in Germany visiting a family member, my wife's aunt. We stayed with her aunt, 83 years old. She had the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1971. So I opened it up and I went to the entry on Canada. And it said Canada, fourth richest country in the world. And it was, U.S., Sweden, Switzerland, Canada, right? And I said, geez, what happened? What do you think happened in the 5 decades that brought us down so many notches?
Look, first of all, I think the world happened is an important point, right? It's not always about what happened in Canada and a policy we did or some decision or mistake. The world has advanced. I mean, in that period of time, literally billions of people have come out of poverty into wealth. People have come from, poverty into the middle class. And so the planet we live in is different. Technology has advanced dramatically in that time frame. And I think the key point is that Canada has to continue to change and evolve. We cannot just look back and say, well, this is how things were. This is how we had our sovereignty. This is how we kept ourselves as a country. We don't like that the rest of the world is changing. It's not an option, unfortunately. So look, what do I think are specific things that have held us back? I mean, look, there are lots of things, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on everything out there. Mm-hmm. But what I would say is, I think, in my view, we have a default to no. No, you can't do this new idea. No, that idea is going to piss off somebody else. No, we can't. That special interest doesn't like it. No, that region won't like that idea. And that's why we shouldn't even try. And I fundamentally reject that, and I think the folks that are supportive of Build Canada should reject that as well. We have to become a country of default to yes. Yes, that's a great idea. Maybe there's an issue, but yes, we can try that. Yes, we can experiment. Yes, we can move quickly to learn instead of endlessly debate. And so default to yes is probably the most important thing, moving away from default to no. I tweeted something the other day, or X'd, I don't know what you say, that, look, Canada has fundamentally chosen between Laurentian stability and Schumpeterian dynamism. And that's a lot of fancy words to say we as a country have defaulted to staying stable, and that's fantastic. But we live in a pretty volatile world. We, I think, have to accept change, rapid, a little bit more change than maybe we're used to. But I think we can do it. I don't think there's anything deeply inherent in Canadians that can't be optimistic, positive, and grow. Like I said, I think we're builders. We just have to remember that and then demand that of the people who lead us, right? Yeah. It's not okay to just say no to everything.
With Daniel,
have to say yes.
With Daniel Dubois here, former Shopify executive, leading the charge here with this new Build Canada initiative. So Daniel, how do you get it done, right? So Build Canada, you've got these proposals on the table. I'm reading some here on unlocking health records, like digitization and that kind of thing. You've got some great ideas already posted to the Build Canada website. But what do you do? Is it a lobbying initiative? How do you end up actually influencing where the country goes?
Well, first thing is, I think Build Canada is not trying to do everything. I'm not trying to save the country in every way. I think Build Canada is a specific solution to a specific problem I saw, which is we have amazing builders in this country, people who know how to grow. They literally have grown companies. They've employed thousands of people. They've raised billions in capital. They have grown great products. And so I think they have something to say about how we can grow the country better. And I think a second point to make is, yes, some of them come from the technology space, but that means that they've worked deeply in parts of our country, in our industry. So, for example, Mike Serbinis has a proposal around healthcare. That's because he's built a healthcare technology company for 10 years. I think he has a really good insight as to specific actions that might help us unlock productivity in the healthcare sector, and that's what he's put forward. So the problem was we had all these great builders. They, like I said, they're yelling into chat rooms, yelling into phones. And when you talk to policy people and you talk to politicians, what they'll tell you is, well, great, what are your specific ideas? And what that really means is, what is that in the form of a memo? What is the pro cons? What is the research about what this has said around the world in the past? What are the literal laws that need to change? What are the regulations, the rules? What are the reasons why we shouldn't do this? Typically known as a policy memo. But no entrepreneur who's building a company and growing a company has time to do that. And to the extent they did, they might do it for their company to lobby something. But to answer your question, no, what we're building is not a lobby group. We're literally taking these ideas, rapidly turning them into policy memos that are useful, actionable, specific ideas, right? Not hand-waving. You should do this thing, and here's how to do it. And then we're putting them on the internet. And to answer your question about how are we getting out there? Well, just to be honest, I didn't call your radio show. You called me. And I actually haven't called anybody. We just literally put this on X and a couple days ago, and the media wants to talk to us. And I'm pretty sure that our political leaders are also seeing the same stuff.
And Daniel,
so
listen,
that's the goal.
I'll tell you, I'm thirsty for it. I want to hear more of this kind of talk. But let me just, to wrap up here, I want to bring up one thing. One of the other types of talk I've seen on X, on social media, is a bit of a targeting of the Canadian tech community. Some of your former Shopify colleagues, right? Getting targeted. Oh, Canada's tech industry, they're going towards the right. And the right is being used in a derogative way, right? And they're saying it's the tech bros coming together and they're trying to push things like Elon. I'm seeing that type of language, okay? What do you say to people that are saying this right now about your initiative, Build Canada, and some of the people that do think Canada is broken and want to fix it?
Sure. Well, first thing I'd say is if you're thirsty for this, stay tuned. We're going to be launching at least 2 or 3 of these ideas every week leading up to the elections, because I think it's about a lot of great ideas. And so you're going to get more, and we'll get more entrepreneurs, more builders who want to sponsor them. So I'm excited. As to your second question, look, I just think it's lazy thinking. It is lazy. It's a storyline and narrative. It's kind of a boring Canadian thing. What's happening in the States? Oh, what's our version of it? When the truth couldn't be further from that, right? The people who I've been working with, and I personally, it is a bit of an ad hominem attack, but I'm pretty sure that the people who are in Canada, building companies in Canada, they haven't left, right? Yeah. Lots of people have left. They're here because they love Canada, and they're here because they want to build their businesses. One of the ideas that came out was, hey, we need to remember that Canada is a nation of builders. And there's a specific policy idea of how we can use some of the money we use typically for cultural programming to really reinforce that message. But the key thing is, I think people think that, the tech people are worried about they're not going to make as much money. I got to be honest with you, that's not the concern of any of the folks. They honestly have done pretty well. And Canada's been great. You know who I think most of them are worried about, who I'm worried about? I'm worried about the next generation of the country. Because if you don't tell millions of young Canadians that starting a business, opening a landscape business, building an oil field service company, building a technology company, learning how to be an entrepreneur in some way, and creating jobs, that is a laudable, important Canadian pastime, that is a good thing for our country, then if those people think that, in fact, that is a bad thing to do, we're lost. That's a terrible thing. So I think it's a lazy meme trying to, instead of attack the substance of the article, trying to attack the people. And I'd encourage people, to go online and read these policies. They're detailed. Stop talking about anything else but that. If you don't like the idea, criticize it. Make it better.
And I encourage people to go there right now. BuildCanada.com. BuildCanada.com is the website. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Daniel DeBow is leading the charge there at Build Canada.